Some people, there we go. We're live. Hello, everybody who's going to be tuning in. So today we're going to be talking with real estate attorney Rodolfo Herrera. I hope I pronounced that right. Gringo voice. But yeah, so he's going to be talking to us about golden rules of purchasing property and, some, really important key factors that you're going to need to know if you do want to purchase property. So also I wanted to mention, let people know when I made the Facebook post or kind of a preview, letting people know we're going to talk about real estate. I think people were kind of asking questions that they might ask a real estate agent, but as a real estate attorney, you have a different role. So maybe as a real estate attorney here in Costa Rica, if someone's not familiar with what that is, what is your role as a real estate attorney?
Okay. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. Like to be here sharing with you my experience. I've been in the business for over 18 years. My experience with the real estate is something that I like to call personal because honestly and truly, the seller, once he gets paid, and the realtor, as soon as he gets his commission, they're out of the picture. So the only person that is going to be right by your side is going to be your attorney. And in this case, it's important to make a stop. And before we continue to clarify a few key points. Number one, Costa Rica's notaries are totally different than the other countries' notaries. It's very important to make this difference because some people, they get nervous when they have only one notary acting, representing both parties, because technically the notary here, it needs to be non-biased, which means that it needs to be super impartial, and it needs to bring up to speed to both parties what's going on, disclose everything that he finds on the discovery part of the transaction. So technically, that is a very good point to bring up, because a lot of people, they do get nervous, but it's totally normal and it's allowed by law. So we as notary, when we act as notary, we need to make sure that the deal is going forward. Also, another important thing. I don't know, Sarah, you're handling the interview. I don't know if you would like me to start talking about when the first steps of people coming down here. You tell me.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I muted myself and then I went to say something just in case you hear background noises. Yeah, I think we have some people on here. So if you just want to go ahead and get into the information that you wanted to present today, and because I think it's going to be really important and it's going to be a good one. So I'm excited to hear, what you have to say. So just have at it.
Sure. This is actually the initial speech I give my clients and friends. The first thing that you need to do when you're coming to Costa Rica is find yourself an attorney or a notary that speaks your language. It is very important. Even if you have to, and it's important also that you can actually talk to him directly without no pressure from real estate agents or from property owners, because there are some things that you would like to discuss or address in a private manner. My best advice there, and that is the golden rule number one, it's get somebody that speaks your language. It's super important. It's like going into the doctor's office and the doctor trying to explain you that you have a bad disease and you are not understanding. So it is very important. You will be amazed on how many times I have been running into people who had a terrible experience because they just didn't understood what they were doing. They signed papers, and in the end, they were not told with all the information they need. So basically, that is the first and number one rule: get somebody that you can understand and you can make all the questions you need to make you feel comfortable. The second golden rule, well, not the golden rule, the second thing that you're going to be in front of is a decision whether or not you want to buy in your personal name or you want to buy with a corporation. When do you need it? In the past, a lot of notaries, including myself, we used to just tell the people, get the corporation, put your assets there, and this is to protect liabilities. Okay, that was essential, and it was a good advice back then. But nowadays, and since the modification of the law in July 1st, 2019, we need to rethink our strategy and analyze directly the person. That is why when you get an interview, an appointment with me, the first thing that I'm going to do is run an interview with you and see what exactly you're doing. Example, if you're going to be a person who are going to be moving down here, and you receive a pension, you live under a limited budget. So we need to understand, number one, that since you're going to be moving down here, you need to learn. You need to learn how to do the things yourself. So in essence, you are going to be available pretty much all the time when documents need to be filed before different public institutions. So if you're going to be here, you're going to have the ability to sign. You don't need a corporation. And let's clarify that, because there's also some people who has doubt, who doubts about it, and people who tell other people that they cannot own property in their personal name if they are not residents. And that is not true. You can own property, own real estate or vehicles or boats if you're a tourist. The only exclusion that I've been getting into is when people want to buy properties that are under concession. They are not title land at itself, but they are under concession because they are inside of the 150 meters of the public area, and those properties are under administration of the municipalities. To do that, you do need to be resident in order to get the concession on your behalf as a beneficiary. But basically, okay, if you're going to be uh, moving down here permanently and you're going to live under a budget, try to minimize expenses. Learn the process. Do not pay other people to do things that you can actually learn. You can probably pay one or the year number one or year number two, but in essence, every single time you give away is going to be money that you're not going to enjoy, and it's going to reduce your lifestyle. That is the first scenario. The scenario number two, okay, we also have people who they do like to come to Costa Rica, spend some time here, and but they are not going to be here, all the year. They're going to be here seasonal. So they still have their jobs in other countries, and for that people, I do prefer to have them use a corporation. Why? Number one, they're working, which means they do not have a limited budget so tight as a person who receives a pension. Number two, they're not going to be here available to sign, powers of attorney or any other document that needs to be filed. So they need to do it remotely. If you're going to do it remotely, there are only two options. The option number one, well, three actually. The number one will be if you need to file to sign something for Costa Rica, you will have to make the appointment at the embassy, sign the document there, then send it down here. And let's be honest, when you're working, you don't have one single day just to go to the embassy and do all your stuff. Um, the option number two, and is the one that I like, is create a Costa Rican corporation, and your attorney can send you the proxy letter so you can grant the power of attorney, represent somebody at the General Assembly meeting of the company, grant the power of attorney, or grant an authorization to somebody to do it, and file the document, and that's it. It's a little bit more expensive because it requires more work from the notary, but it's doable. And if you analyze the expenses against the benefits, there's not much to say there. The last one, but not least, is if you run with luck and there is a notary, traveling in the United States, you can actually ask him if he has his protocol book with him to sign documents with you. So it's kind of simple. You will be amazed on how many notaries they do have schedules or agendas to go into the United States. I have done it myself for people who they just can't come down here. So I have been in, I sacrificed myself. I've been in Lake Tahoe, Vegas, a few nice places, signing documents. But those are the three options. So in essence, the downside of having a corporation is that you're going to have to be vigilant of your corporate taxes to be paid, the shareholder registration to be filed, the D-140 form to be filed before the tax administration, and those handling of the company that you need to be aware that you need to do it, otherwise you can run into difficulties. But those are the actually that is the vision that I have when I have a new person moving down here. What is he going to do? Is he going to be stay here or is going to be seasonal? That is important. Then another point before we get into the properties, then is the bank accounts. I mean, I'm going to say something as per today is 22nd of September. Because here in Costa Rica, you're going to learn something. One day they have one set of rules, and the other day they have another set of rules without further notice. So it's kind of difficult, and it really makes you look bad, but it's what we have. Turns out that right now and currently, you can open a bank account in your personal name if you're a tourist. Just going to and the one that I'm going to quote here is the BCR. Open your bank account. You go with your passport and you open your bank account without showing any document. Now, the limitation there is going to be that you're going to have a limit of $1,000 per month to deposit in your account. If you deposit $1,001, it's going to raise a red flag. They're going to hold the account until you clarify the origin of the funds. Okay, but it's doable. Some people they don't need more than 1,000, and with an account they can have the web taxes and pay their electric bill, their water bill, and any other expense they might have. With the corporation, also it's a little bit easier, more or less, but you have to show more. But you have to file more paperwork before the BCR, such as a cash flow. In order to do a cash flow, your CPA have to have your income tax declaration, tax return, a utility bill with the indication of your address, and a referral letter from your bank saying that you handle a positive balance with them and that you have been their client for X amount of years. And with those papers and 6 months of bank statement from the account where you're going to fund the account here in Costa Rica. With those documents, the CPA will create the cash flow. Your notary can give you your corporate bylaws that you're going to need. By the way, very important, your notary will give you the original and a copy. The bank must keep the copy. They always want the original, and they are is not meant for them. And then corporation ID with indication of the social capital distribution. With those documents, you will be able to open your bank accounts. Okay, now getting into a little bit of more real estate properties. Okay, there are three types of properties that those are the most common ones. Number one, properties with title. They're super secure. I'm going to explain why in a few seconds. Properties without title, I don't like those. And concession properties. Okay, why I don't like the non-title lands? The non-title lands, they are like gamble because the properties with title, and this is one of the good, the very good things that Costa Rica has. We have the National Registry. In the National Registry, all the properties in Costa Rica that has title are recorded there. So there is publicity there that you can actually type the property number, get into the system, and you will see if it has any annotation, embargo, lien, pledge, anything. There are some people who record leases. There are some people who record also easements, and so on. A lot of things will be displayed there, and it's a very easy way to check a property. In fact, the National Registry give you a service which is called that is an alert. The alert is that you pay the service per year, and they will send you an email whenever any movement, annotation, or something is going into your property. So you will be advised when something is happening with your property. The problem with the non-title lands is that there is no way that we can check. So what we have to do if somebody's buying property without title is just checking the property, with the neighbors and with a sworn statement of the person who's selling the property. But that opens the gate to a lot of things that can go wrong, like that the property belongs to the father who's give it to one of the sons, and it's a family mess. So I don't like those. And then we have the concession property that they are secure. They are properties that, as I said before, they are inside of the 150 meters from the public area. From the highest side, we have 50 meters that are public. That's why you can walk all over the coast, all over the beach. And then after those 50 meters, you have 150 that belongs to the municipalities. And they are not for sale, but they can be granted as a concession. The person will have the concession for 20 years. There is a whole procedure to renew it every 20 years, and those properties are good, but they have the limitation that you cannot be tourists to get them, even if you have a corporation. In the past, there was some people who were doing something not really good because they tell you, oh, just put somebody of your trust, Costa Rican person. But with the shareholder registration, that situation, it's over. Okay, now continue with the real estate. We have the golden rules that I like to call them. I already said number one, which is get somebody who really you can really understand. Then number two, when you have a property, you have, and let's talk the scenario of raw land. The first thing you need to do is check the property access. You need to see if the property access is through an easement, through a public road, and very important to compare it with what is show it to you on the survey. It happened once that a client of mine was showing a property, and we detected that the access through the property was through an easement that it was not recorded. And the problem is, a notary, you have to remember this: you are the eyes of the notary on the field. Because for me, and to me, all the properties are flat because it's what I see, a piece of paper. So to me, everything is flat. But and as long as the property touches a public road, that's what I need to see that the property it has a public road access. But the thing is, in front of this property, there was a gigantic, wall. So there was no way for the client to walk to get there. So we actually were able to pull the deal off until the seller granted the easement correctly. Access. Number three, that will be check the electricity. When you're buying property, even if it's for land, something very important and smart for you to do would be to see if the electric lines they run through the in front of the property through the public road, or if they touch the property at some point. Why is this so important? Because one single pole, install one pole, it can cost you up to $3,000. Think about this: the maximum distance that a pole can be, in between, it's 50 meters. So if the poles are 500 meters down below, we're talking a lot of money to put electricity in your property. Unless you want to be off the grid and you want to put the solar panels, that in the end, they're also expensive. But electricity is a good point. By the way, you're going to need to have that in order to build. Number 34, that will be water. This is one of the most trending topics currently. Last year, they start to enforce a very old law. And it is that says that in order for you to obtain a building permit, you need to have water from a legal source of water. That means it have to be from the aqueduct and sewers, which is AYA in Spanish. the public institution that is in charge of the water. Or then there is the semi-private, the asadas, which they are communities that organize themselves under the supervision of the AYA, and they provide the service of water to the community. If you don't have AYA or asada, then you might want to check if the seller has a concession before the water department, because probably he is obtaining the water through a well, a creek, a river, or any other water body available. If there is none of them, that means the property doesn't have water. That means that if your intention is to buy and start building immediately, you are not going to be able to do it until you get water. And if the seller is having the water from a well that he's using the well, and he don't have a concession, that's an illegal use of water, and you're not going to be able to build. And eventually, you might receive a cease and desist order from the prosecution because you're making an illegal use of water. But there are many creative ways to preserve a deal alive. I mean, maybe you are not in a rush. Maybe you just want to get the land. That's okay. You might want to do a holdback with your escrow and tell them that, okay, I'm going to do a holdback and you're going to get me the concession. Once the concession is granted, I give you the holdback. So there are many ways to do it. And finally, that will be my fifth golden rule, will be to run the title search, obviously, and walk the property. You need to walk the property at least once so you can understand, and the previous owner can tell you the precise limits and boundaries of the property. You will be amazed on how many people they still, in very old people, that they know that, okay, that mango tree is the limit of the property. So you need to understand the way that the Costa Ricans work. Okay, but if you walk the property, you're going to be at least secured and compare with the survey what is going on. Um, then another thing that you are going to do, because let's summarize a little bit of the process. When you're finding a property, you can either do it personally by yourself, which I don't recommend. I recommend to use a real estate agent in the area where you're going to buy. Get an offer to purchase. That will be the first document that you will be signing. Just to clarify, if the offer that you're going to do is this amount of money, and you put all the terms and conditions, at least the general description of them. Once that is complete, the notary will have the information to create the sell and purchase agreement. Another note here: when you are buying, you have the power of decision. The power of decisions is yours. So you don't need to do what the what the seller is telling you that you can use his attorney. You have the power to decide. If you decide, you make an interview with the notary and it satisfies you, that's okay. You can go ahead. You can listen to your real estate agent. They do have very good advices on people. And again, it's only a recommendation. You can interview the person. You can, if you feel the chemistry, you can proceed with this notary. But in the end, you are the one. I'm telling this because at some point, one person told me once that he was forced to use the seller's attorney, and I was like, well, it's up to you. You're the one with the equity. You're the one with the money. You can decide what to do. Okay, once the sell and purchase agreement is being done, and is ready to be executed, you need to check for some uh, timing there. Important timing. What type of timing? Okay, first of all, how much money is going to be the initial deposit? Usually it's a 10%. Okay, what the initial deposit, how it's going to be? The initial deposit, sometimes we have a part that is soft. Sometimes we have a part where it's soft and hard, two stages. And I can tell you because it depends. Every single deal is different. But the most common ones is that you sign the sell and purchase agreement, then you have 30 days, which is the standard. It could be more, obviously, but or less. Um, and then during that time, the initial deposit is refundable. And it is refundable because if there is something that you don't like on the property, something that it was not according to what you agree or subject the deal to, and okay, but what happened if everything is good during due diligence, and then the initial deposit gets hard or non-refundable? Well, you have to close over the property, otherwise you're going to lose the deposit. Period. It's very simple. That's why we do have escrow. And okay, the other thing, elements that you need to be sure to cover in the sale and purchase agreement with your notary is what exactly do you want to check over the property. You can, the sky is the limit, and you can check whatever you want. In terms of our raw land, the most important and essential, and actually I do say to my client that if they do not follow this one, I will actually put a waiver into the purchase deed in favor of me, is hire a surveyor, have him resize the property. Um, the properties in Costa Rica, some of them they are super old, and if you don't hire a topographer, you're not going to know if the property is overlapping other properties. You don't know if the size is more or is less. So you really need to be sure. Give you an example. If you buy a property, an old farm with a survey with the data from 1978 or 1970, it's very likely that if you're with me, I'm going to tell you, okay, let's do a plus minus average on the price against the size, because it's very likely that the property can go up or down. And in big properties, we can talk about hectares, which is a lot of property. Back in the days, the government of Costa Rica hired some airplanes, so they took pictures of Costa Rica and they designed the service with a computer, not on the field. What that is translated to mismatches in a lot of the topography and service. That's why it's better to have a surveyor walk the entire property. And now they are doing something really cool, which is that they put metal stakes in all the vortex of the property, important points. So we don't need to pay attention anymore to the mango tree, to the living fences, because the points are there, and the GPS are very good nowadays. They do have a mistake of plus minus a meter, half a meter. It depends on the equipment that your surveyor is using. Also, some of them they do. The one that I work with, he delivers reports in English, and which is very good, and recommendations. Another important point is that the surveyor can advise if the property he sees any water body, water spring, or well, or something in the property, and I'm going to explain you why it's very important. Any Oh, and before we change topic, the last but not least, talk to your neighbors. Talk to them, see if how has been the owner, the current owner, if he had any problem or anything. You will be amazed on how many things you can discover by just talking, saying hi. um, During due diligence as well, and this is very important. So a lot of people, they do like to come down and buy a property that has a magnificent river in the back, or a wonderful spring water, or a creek, or there is any water body in essence. The problem with that is beautiful. Yeah, I understand that. However, you need to understand that Costa Rica protects a lot of that. So if you have a spring on your property, the setback from the center of that spring is going to be 100 meters around. In a big property, that's not too much. But if we're talking a property, a small property, that could be actually the 90% of the terrain. So you won't be able to build anything there because it will be illegal. Then, if we are talking about a creek or a river, It depends on the topography, but is during due diligence is highly advised for you to obtain um, what it's called an inbus setback certification. That certification takes about 22 days, but it will tell you how far from the river you need to, be back in order to be able to build. When the properties are flat, the distance is 15 meters. When we have a slope, we have a setback of 50 meters horizontally measured. So that's a lot. Okay, and some for some properties that's a deal breaker because again you won't have any space to build. And That's for the for those things. Then realize what you are going to do on the property. It's important for you to tell your notary, okay, I'm going to be buying this property for commercial use or for residential use, because once you have that determination during due diligence, your notary or the person in charge of the due diligence can go to the municipality and request a zoning certification. With the zoning certification, you will be able to see if there is any limitation on what you want to do, if it's for commercial or if it is for residential. And also, you will get the density that you're allowed to build on the property. You're going to get also the setbacks, because even if you own a property here in Costa Rica, that doesn't mean that you can build right by the edge of the property. You need to be careful with that. You need to have some setbacks. It depends if you have your neighbor. The windows is a total, is also a topic there that you want to be careful with, and it will tell you a lot, and at least you can keep it in the future for reference. Okay, and during due diligence there are other type of things that you can request. I have during these 18 years I have seen it pretty much all. I've seen the people who they want to test the quality of the water. I've seen people that they want to do soil tests, that the soil test is perforation, percolation. They want to see how deep or how expensive it will be the foundation for a house that they want to build. If you're buying a house, the home inspection is a must. It's very important. If you're buying a house from a Costa Rican, be sure that you most likely will have to redo the electric diagram and everything, because the standards that we had in the past, they are not the standards that we have now. And also for safety, just to see the codes. And in general terms, during due diligence, you might want to also do, I don't know, chemicals. I've seen people who take the samples of the earth because they want to be in a place without chemicals. So pretty much everything. I have also, I'm sorry, am I talking too much?
I have myself on mute. I was just reading a comment that someone, after you're done, which take your time, then I'll go through some questions that people have asked, and also my dogs are
Actually, if you want, why you don't tell me one of the questions in the meantime? I'm going to review it and see if I have covered everything. Oh, during due diligence, you can actually check if you're, and this is important for some people, if you're going to have cell phone availability or internet access or cable TV, optic fiber. Nowadays, a lot of people they work through home with this new normality, so not all the places are available. So that is important also to check on that.
Okay. Okay. Well, Tom Parrott had actually a lot of questions, but his first one is, I'm from Canada. Are all the funds in US dollars? It's usually, I mean, I guess it'll depend if the property's in colones or US dollars, or, if someone's Canadian and it's in
One
US
piece of
dollars, they need to actually
advice
make that.
will be to get very clear the dates for the transaction, because I know the Canadian dollar people they do like supervision of the exchange rate, because they do have to do it right, because I've seen people that they have won and lost money during this transaction. So if they have the time frame, they can start making a monitoring the exchange rate and do that with time in advance. It's going to save you money.
Okay, and then same, Tom is also asking, how expensive is it to start a corporation in Costa Rica? Which I know that
It depends. Every case is different. Starting a corporation nowadays is super quick. It's only takes take us 3 or 4 days to get it up and running. Um, Sometimes it takes one day to another one, but I prefer not to say that because I prefer to be the hero, not the bad guy. But the cost, it depends on what exactly do you want, what is structure. But prices can go from $500 to $800 to $1,000. It depends if it's going to be for investment. It's going to be only to hold assets. Let's remember that the corporation it really takes liabilities, but something that you need to be careful with is at least people from the United States, they do have to report that to their CPAs because there is a law that you have to tell the IRS that you have or you are part of another country corporation. So yeah, it depends.
Okay. Let's see, another question. Well, someone asked, will the bank account be good? We were talking about banks and how you can open the account and you can only put in 1,000. This person's asking if the bank account will be good after the tourist visa law that we are allowed to be here until March 2021 is lifted. But this has been something that we've had for a while. This isn't a law because of coronavirus. This is just how it's been with being able to open an account here for a while, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Someone from YouTube is asking, how much cheaper is non-titled land? So do you find that sometimes non-titled is cheaper because there's more risk, or what have you seen?
It is a gamble. It's a 50-50 chances. I mean, and it's maybe, let's put it this way. A non-title land, it depends on the configuration, can go like probably 60% of the, you will pay 60% of the real value. The problem with that is that, remember, even if you buy a non-title land, if you want to convert it into title land, you're going to spend a lot of money, and you are going to spend a few years. And remember, one of the key parts of everything we're talking here is to keep you guys out or not getting into know the dark side of Costa Rica, because we do have a dark side, and it's the illegal judicial system. Here is super slow. So non-title lands is a gamble. If you want to do it, I have nothing against that. But as long as you understand that it's not something that is going to be, done in 1 year, that's okay. There's a lot of work to be done, and probably in the end, that's why I'm saying it's not bad. It's a gamble, because in the end, once after you finish everything, a property that you spend $50,000 on, you're going to make it 3 or 4 times the value. You can subdivide it or you can develop it. So it depends each case.
Okay, now I have my own question. I'll go into the other ones. But what you said about concession properties, I didn't realize that they had changed it. So, because I actually do have somebody that I know who's probably going to purchase a concession property, but she's not a resident. So that's not okay now? Like, do I need to call this person and be like, don't do it?
Let me explain you why. Okay, let's talk just between us. In the past, people used to put or assign a Costa Rican person that they trust, with the 51% of the shares of the company. Okay. And then they reserve the 49%. Technically speaking, they are part of the company, but the majority belongs to a Costa Rican. That was a way that a lot of people did or handle the to go over the law. But what happened now with the shareholder registration? First of all, when you form a corporation, you have, after the start of the company, you have 15 days to file the shareholder registration. So you need to tell the BCR, the bank, the Central Bank of Costa Rica, who the shareholders of that company are. Number one. Number two, in the past, people used to do this with this Costa Rican 5149, and then in the entry number one of the shareholders of the book, the shareholder books, in the entry number two, what they do is that they have this Costa Rican to endorse those shares back to the 49 owner. But what's the problem? They never finalize it. They leave it at, into the half. What's the problem now? The problem now is if you get to sell the concession, you make a transaction, because remember, you are not able to sell the concession. You are able to sell a company that holds that concession,
Okay,
the shares.
that's
And
going
then
on.
you have to register before the municipality, the change and everything. Okay, let's put it this. And somebody pay you $1 million. Guess what? You have to pay taxes for that money that you're receiving. And guess what? The Costa Rican guy probably he's not going to see a dime of that money. And if that money gets paid in the United States, that means that the person who received the money, it's okay. But the Costa Rican at some point can be liable for that money, for that debt. So right now, I don't think there is, a lot of people that understand that would like to do that because of the repercussions that I might have. Honestly and truly, I prefer to do things by the book. I prefer to have this person to, get their residency first, and then, get the concession. That's pretty much, and there's plenty of solutions that they can have in the meantime. You can make a trust and put the shares of that into an escrow company, and in the meantime, you can proceed, and Andres can help you with the residency, so things like that.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know. That's something that I learned that was new for me today. Always learning something.
Concession, Sarah, is an entire it's probably two chapters conversation. There's a lot of things to cover with concessions.
Funny, I actually had I got this whole printout about concessions right here. Just happened to be here.
From which municipality? Because each municipality is they have some different things.
Oh, up here in Jaco.
Oh yeah, you have all those Keppel. You have Manuel. You have Keppel. You have Osa. You have Golfito. A lot of information.
Yeah. Alrighty. So then Tom asked, is there a lot of hand dug wells? Is there city water if you're close to a city? So the IA is that we've talked about earlier. That's I guess technically the equivalent of city water.
What was the question? If there are a lot or there's only one?
I was wondering if there are a lot of hand dug wells, and is there city water
You
if you're in the city? Yeah, can you hear me? Hello, I'm here.
I lost you. I lost you for a second. What was the question? Sorry.
He's asking, are there a lot of hand dug wells, and is there city water if you are close to the city?
That's a good point. Right now, if you buy a property that doesn't have water, some municipalities, they allow you to do a hand dug well in order for you to, and there is a small registration that needs to be done in order to obtain the building permit. One thing that people don't know, but they would like to know, is that when you are receiving public water, AYA or ASADA, that water by law, it needs to have chlorine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then, can you purchase a plastic water tank to trap the rain and use that as your water supply?
Yes, the rain catchers is actually a good idea that I've been actually trying to develop in my house for the killer summer seasons that we have now. But no, you cannot use that. We tried for a client because he wanted to use be totally off the grid, including the water, and he wanted to use his UV system. By the way, even if you have a concession, I always recommend going to eBay or Amazon and get a UV system to filter your water. It's your security. You can spend $1,000, $1,500, and you can get a very good, decent system with spare parts. But yeah, no, you can use it. There is no restriction, so you can use it, but you cannot take that as your water source to proceed and get a building permit.
Yeah. Okay. And so is it possible to get a mortgage with a Costa Rican bank with a fixed income? What are the interest rates like?
First of all, you don't want to know the interest rates because we are super high. I mean, I've seen in compare with other countries such as United States, I saw a few weeks ago or days ago that they lowered the rates and actually they're like 375 a year. Oh no, 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 that is not happening here. Here's the thing: there is the option for some banks, not all, to give a mortgage to a person that is a tourist, that they don't have the possibility to demonstrate really good their income. So it's a very difficult process. The option is there. Some banks, such as Scotiabank, I know they do have the option, but it's super difficult. And your age also will be a restriction because you will have to go through medical tests and all that. And one thing to clarify as well, remember, even when we have Scotiabank, when we have similar brands of companies or banks, that doesn't mean that you can open your bank account in Canada and be able to withdraw here. No, it
Mhm.
doesn't work that way.
Okay, that's good to know. Now someone asking, is it hard to purchase lumber and building supplies and getting a permit to build onto an addition? I'm sorry, build an addition onto an existing home.
No, no, it's not difficult. The one important element there is that you have to have uh, an engineer or an architect checking what you're doing. I mean, if you're doing something very small, teeny tiny, you're doing the summer deck job. It depends on the size of the deck. But if something's really small, no. But if you're doing an addition like a room or something, you will have to get the building permits. One of the things that make me super proud about Costa Rica is that even when we are a place where we receive a lot of earthquakes, you can see that our houses are not failing, our buildings are not failing. Difference with other countries, and that is why Costa Rica has one of the of the best seismic codes available, and it protects people. So please, and this is also something else that I'm going to say here. Please do not listen the old person who have been living in Costa Rica for 30, 40 years, and they pretend to know. Talk to a person who knows. In this case, an engineer, an architect, that they can show you their license. Because problem is a lot of people, and this is a term that I use. When people move down here, they bring their culture of taxes, not cutting corners and everything. But when they get in contact with people that they they tropicalize themselves. It's what I like to call. They cut corners and try to do things like in the old fashioned. And nowadays that brings a lot of problems in the future.
Yep, I see that. And then like with things always changing, it seems like every year in this country, just because you've been here for a long time doesn't always mean you have the most up-to-date information. Especially if it's been 10, 5 years or more since you've built your own home or you've been through that process. Things do just drastically change.
Totally. You can see it nowadays. We do have capital gains, and we have capital gains starting in July 1st, 2019.
Sorry about that, dogs.
Or
We're just more questions and then we can wrap up. They're saying, do you need to pay with cash to purchase a home or land? I mean, I've some owner financing. It's not that typical, but I always tell people everything's possible. You never know. But what have you typically seen? Mostly cash, or what have you seen the most?
there, there, there's everything. I mean, I've seen, like cash nowadays is difficult and complicated because of the money laundering law. And because if you come here to my office and you say, like, oh, I'm going to pay $100,000 in cash, okay, so be it. You can pay outside or whatever you want, not in my office. And then, this person who just sold his property, very happy, goes to the bank and put that 120,000, $100,000, he's going to be actually, stopped at the door, and you're gonna say, where is this money coming from? So it's complicated to do cash deals. I mean, people nowadays refer as cash deal when they put the money in escrow and escrow make the payments. Period. Very simple.
I
No,
think that's
no, no drama.
I think that's what the person was trying to say. Like in other countries, United States, Canada, maybe it's really common to finance your home, whereas down here it seems to be more common that you put up the full cash for the purchase. I mean, not just handing it to them, going through the process.
No, it depends. It depends, Sarah. Here in Costa Rica, you will see. It depends on your ability as negotiator with the seller. I mean, I've seen people who they get the part and they do fixed mortgage, they do balloon payments. I've seen it all. I mean, it's super common. Also, the thing is, you need to work out is the interest. Something that I've seen, interesting is that when people are doing business between, let's put nationality, people from Canada and the United States, they use their mortgage rates back in the US or in Canada. When you're doing a mortgage with a Costa Rican, you're going to get the rates higher because it's what we have on the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I guess there's one more question, and then I guess we'll wrap up. And this was amazing information. We're kind of going back to the banking again, which I know we kind of went over this, but just if this person's still on, yes, if you're a tourist, you can open up a bank account. And then Tom asked if he came as a tourist, opened a bank account with less than $1,000, then went back to his home country, can he remotely keep sending money so that when he eventually moves, it's here?
Actually, not only he can, but he have to, because remember the one thing you have to ask all the time to the uh, banks is what's their policy for inactivity. Because if you don't use your account, hey, guess what? They're going to start collecting the administration charge until they shut down the account. One more thing before we just go. I just want to remember, guys, that we don't have um, title insurance in Costa Rica approved by the or authorized by the Sujeval. The reason is our system is very good and very competent, and that eliminates a lot of the of, of the job from the insurance company. Otherwise, we will have it, but we don't have insurance title. There is one company. I can't remember the name. I do remember, but I don't want to say it. One company that provides that type of insurance, but they're based in Texas, and the policy is issued in Texas. So quite honestly, I don't like to go there. You don't need it. We don't need it. So just stay away from that. Just remember also, you need to get the property once it is transferred. You need to record the uh, the you need to file the property reassessment before the municipality. Obviously, before buying, your notary is going to do this by default, but if not, just remember to do so. Check the land taxes. If you're buying a house, check the electric meters, water meters, and the services, utilities that might compromise the property if there are outstanding balance with other companies.
Well, this was a lot of information. I remember when we first had our chat, months ago for the e-course that I made.
Yeah.
It was jam packed. So it sounds like it's really necessary to hire a lawyer. That's what I tell my clients when I know they're looking for properties. I'm like, make sure you work with a real estate attorney, someone who they're going to protect you. The agent can do that.
It is the best. It is the best because your notary will understand your needs, and he will combine it with his experience, and that will make you make a nice and safe deal.
Uh-huh. And then, so for you, do you service all areas of Costa Rica? I know you're in San Isidro. We've met in person. And so I want to personally vouch for Rodolfo. He's awesome. I've used his services. I think he's a really great, honest person. He really is very thorough. I always feel really comfortable, like I understand everything that's going on, but just very helpful. Pleasure to work with. So do you service all of Costa Rica, or are you just kind of mainly in that area?
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. It's been a pleasure to also work with you. Um, yes, in Costa Rica, we don't have jurisdiction. We can work all over the country. In fact, my clients, I have clients in Samara, I have clients in Golfito, in Jaco, in Quepos, in San Jose. So yeah, I actually work all over the country. Just between us, that give me sometimes excuses to leave the office and be in a trip. Like the one that we did in Samara, it was really good experience because the place is super nice.
Yep, I actually have clients that are going to be moving there. I don't remember which ones. Within the next maybe the next 6 weeks. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to check that out. That'll be
Oh
fun.
yeah,
So,
you're
um,
gonna like the place.
so I would say, so if anyone wants to get in touch with you to like hire your services, so I'm just going to let you all know, you can email me at sarah@lasaralena.com, and I will put you in I will introduce you. I'll make an introduction email so that you all can get connected with Rodolfo. And maybe actually, do you want to let people know? So I know you don't just only do real estate. What other, do you want to give people a quick little rundown of some other things that you also do in your office? I know it's a lot. It's like cars and
Sure.
sessions
we
and this.
we we help with pretty much everything for people when they're going to be relocated. We help them to with their cars. If they're going to import their car, that we don't encourage. We have enough cars here, and there's a lot of cars that you can buy here. But we do help with the importation. We help with the corporations. We help you to understand how it works with the workers, their payment, their payroll. Social security here is different than in other countries. Minimum wage salaries, business. We actually are really good by getting liquor license, business license for hotels, small bed and breakfast, health department. So technically speaking, and for well, it's a shame that I cannot do it all over the country, but at least in my area, if you are in the southern part of Costa Rica and you are here, you need something, you can actually, text us because since I was born and raised here, I have access to mechanics, doctors, pretty much everything. So I can get you in connect with and help you with pretty much everything.
Okay. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for your time
You're
and just
welcome.
information. It was fantastic, and I hope that this was valuable for people. As usual, just here trying to provide value. So thank you for being a part of that. And again, if anyone needs to reach out to Rodolfo, my email here is below in the description. You can email me and I will connect you, when I see your email, and then you can get with him directly.
Thank you guys for the opportunity. And if somebody needs me, I'm here to. It will be my pleasure to help you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. And, we'll be in touch as usual.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye.